I am the legendary master of football. While others retire when age forces them to, I decided to retire on my own term. My career knows no limits imposed by age, nor by the expectations of others. My name is Zlatan Ibrahimović, and this is my story. I was born in Malmö, a place where life kicks your butt from the first minute. Poverty, hunger, violence, nothing has been easy for me. At 9 years old, I was separated from my mother and sent to live with my father. A tough guy, with a refrigerator full of beer and little else. Food was scarce, but my spirit was strong. I stole, pilfered, whatever it took to survive. But deep down, a passion burned in me. Football. On the field, I was a lion. The fury consuming me became my strength. At 15, I almost gave up football, but my coach saw me, a diamond in the rough. Ronaldo, Batistuta, my idols. I dreamt of being like them, of conquering the world of football, and I did it, with talent, hard work, and an indomitable attitude. I became Zlatan Ibrahimović. I am not a product of luck. I am a warrior. I am Zlatan, and my story is a story of legend. From my debut in Malmö in 1996 to my standout period at Ajax, my career was a constant ascent to greatness. With innate talent and indomitable will, I conquered the summit of Swedish football, debuting in the national team in 1999. Despite obstacles like the brief setback with Malmö, I always knew that my comeback would be triumphant. My transfer to Ajax in 2001 for a record sum confirmed my unique worth. My influence also extended to the Swedish national team, demonstrating my genius from my debut with the U21 in 2001. Although I faced setbacks, I was always a protagonist on the field. Under Ronald Koeman's leadership at Ajax, I guided the team to victory in the Eredivisie 2001-02 and left an indelible mark on the Dutch League and the Champions League, proving my worth with 5 goals. My legacy as an emerging force in European football was secured. 3 countries wanted my talent: Sweden, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Croatia. But only one could have me, and I chose Sweden, my homeland. A few months later, I scored my first goal for the national team in a World Cup qualifying match against Azerbaijan, securing our qualification for the tournament. Although we fell in the round of 16 against Senegal in the World Cup, I left my mark with my fighting spirit in each game. My legend was solidified with a goal that still thrills fans today. In a match against NAC Breda in August 2004, I dribbled past 5 opposing players in a run that reminded me of the best moments of Maradona and Zidane. The goal was chosen as the goal of the year by Eurosport viewers. In 2004, I was involved in controversies, such as the incident with Rafael van der Vaart and the altercation with Middo, generating headlines. In the Euro 2004, I was key for Sweden, scoring 3 goals in the group stage and 1 memorable goal against Italy. Although I failed in the penalty shootout against the Netherlands in the quarter-finals, my performance was highlighted. My transfer to Juventus for €16 million that same year set a record for a Swedish player. I quickly earned a spot in the starting 11, scoring 16 goals and helping the team to win Serie A. In the Champions League, we reached the quarter-finals, receiving awards such as the Serie A Foreign Footballer of the Year and the Guldbollen as the best Swedish player. Although a bid from Real Madrid was rumoured, it turned out to be a publicity stunt. In my second season at Juventus, my role changed, and I faced criticism after the defeat against Arsenal in the Champions League. The Calciopoli scandal affected the club, which was relegated to Serie B, leading me to leave Juventus and join Inter Milan to continue advancing in my career. On August 10, 2006, I fulfilled a dream by signing for Inter Milan, the team of my loves since childhood. I debuted with a victory in the Italian Supercup and scored in my first Liga game against Fiorentina. In the derby against Milan, I scored the 3rd goal in a 4-3 win. In my first season, I was the top scorer of Inter in Serie A, contributing to winning the Scudetto with a record of 97 points. The following seasons were even more successful, with 2 more Scudettos, the Coppa Italia and the Champions League. In the 2008-09 season, I was the top scorer of Serie A with 25 goals and was named Footballer of the Year and Foreign Footballer of the Year for the 2nd consecutive year. On July 23, 2009, my transfer to Barcelona from Inter Milan shook the football world. The Catalan club offered an irresistible offer: Samuel Eto'o plus 40 million euros. My debut was triumphant, winning the Super Cup in overtime and scoring in my first league game. My arrival was met with great anticipation by the fans. However, the relationship with coach Guardiola became tense. Despite my individual successes, the team did not achieve its objectives, including elimination in the Champions League against Inter Milan. My physical problems and the tension with Guardiola affected my performance. Despite scoring in key matches, like in the Clásico against Real Madrid, the season ended with a bittersweet taste. The tension culminated in a confrontation in the locker room, reflecting the growing discord between us. My last goal with Barcelona came in the 2010 Spanish Super Cup, in the 3-1 defeat against Sevilla. And my last game with the club was against Milan in the Joan Gamper Trophy. In my autobiography, I Am Zlatan, I revealed the true reasons behind my break with Guardiola. In a few words, the idiot had designed a system that prioritized making Messi shine while my own shine was innate. At that time, Messi seemed manufactured, while mine was authentic and natural. Guardiola, despite having a Ferrari in his hands, chose to drive it as if it were a modest Fiat. It was a frustrating and challenging situation for someone like me, used to being the center of attention and being recognized for my own merit and talent. But as I always say, when you're Zlatan, you can't allow anyone to dim your light. My time at Barcelona came to an end. It was not a happy ending, but it left me with great memories and lessons learned. I was probably in the best team in history. Their football was beautiful. When I prepared for a game, I knew I had won even before starting. I looked at the players around me and saw Messi, Iniesta, Xavi, Puyol, Piqué, Dani Alves and Busquets. Incredible. It was football from another planet, and I loved it. It was technically perfect. On August 28, 2010, I signed with AC Milan, a club with a rich history and the shared goal of winning the Champions League. Despite a disappointing start with a loss to Cesena and a missed penalty, I quickly recovered and scored my first Champions League goals against Auxerre. My goal in the derby against Inter, my former club, on November 14th, stood out, showing my commitment to Milan and my ability to stand out in crucial moments. My season was notable, becoming the team's top scorer and earning the fans' appreciation despite receiving 2 red cards. On June 18, 2011, Milan was crowned Serie A champion, my first Scudetto, an achievement that filled me with pride. In 2012, I continued as a prominent scorer, leading Serie A and contributing to significant victories, such as the 4-0 win against Arsenal in the Champions League. I concluded the season as top scorer of Serie A with 28 goals in 32 matches. In Euro 2012, as captain of Sweden, I was determined to conquer Europe and prove my supremacy. In the qualifiers, I shone with a double against San Marino and a hat-trick against Finland. In the final phase, I scored Sweden's first goal against Ukraine and scored a spectacular volley against France, chosen as the best goal of the tournament. Although Sweden didn't go beyond the group phase, my individual performance earned me inclusion in the team of the tournament, consolidating me as a football legend. On July 17, 2012, I arrived in Paris, marking a milestone in football. My signing for Paris Saint-Germain showed the club's determination to become a European giant, and I was the key piece of that ambitious project. From the first moment, I became the team leader, standing out not only for my goals, but also for my charisma and innate leadership. I led PSG to conquer their first Ligue 1 title in 19 years, thus marking the beginning of a new era for the club. On September 18, 2012, I scored my 6th goal in 5 matches, becoming the first player to score with 6 different clubs in the Champions League. An achievement that highlighted my uniqueness as a player in the world of football. My time at PSG was filled with memorable moments. I scored goals with the heel, bicycle kicks, volleys. I did whatever I wanted. The 2013-14 season was a legendary time for me, showing my supremacy in League One. From the beginning, with important goals like my incredible heel goal against Bastia, recognized as the best of the season in the league, to my outstanding performance with 4 goals against Anderlecht in the Champions League, I broke records and led PSG to its 2nd consecutive league title. With 26 goals, I was the top scorer, in addition to being the leader in assists, and I was named Ligue 1 Player of the Year for the 2nd time in a row. It was a season which confirmed my dominance in France and my status as one of the best in the world. In the qualification for the 2014 World Cup, I scored incredible goals, like the memorable hat-trick against Norway. But despite my efforts, Sweden did not manage to qualify. After the defeat against Portugal, I expressed that a World Cup without me would lack interest. When you are Zlatan Ibrahimović, you know that your presence makes a difference on the field. Since my arrival at Paris Saint-Germain in 2014, I left an indelible mark from the first day. With a couple of goals in the Champions Trophy and another pair at the start of the league, I showed my unmatched class. Throughout the season, I continued scoring hat-tricks and leading the team to victory. Despite facing setbacks, like a red card in the Champions League, my determination never wavered. I contributed to PSG's success in the French Cup and the League Cup, scoring crucial goals in both tournaments. I showed why I am Zlatan Ibrahimović, a legend on the field. In October 2015, I became Paris Saint-Germain's all-time top scorer by scoring 2 penalty goals against Marseille, totaling 110 goals in all competitions. In November, I returned to Malmö FF in the Champions League and broke Mustafa Daleb's record for goals in the French League. I continued my streak in the Champions League by scoring against Chelsea and joined the select group of players with over 50 goals in UEFA club competitions. In March, I helped PSG advance to the quarter-finals of the Champions League and celebrated my personal record of 100 goals in the French League with a spectacular hat-trick in the victory against Troyes. I announced my departure from PSG at the end of the season, leaving an indelible mark. In my last league match with PSG, I scored 2 goals against Nantes, becoming the club's top scorer in a single League One season with 38 goals. The fans dismissed me with an ovation, and my children wore t-shirts in honor of my legacy. In the final of the French Cup, I scored 2 more goals and assisted in another to lead PSG to victory. With my departure, PSG won the national treble for the 2nd consecutive season. Although my record as PSG's top scorer was surpassed by Edinson Cavani in 2018, I left an indelible mark on the club and in the history of French football. On July 1st, 2016, I signed with Manchester United on a 1-year contract, with the option to extend it depending on my performance. It was speculated that my weekly wage reached $200,000. In the 2016-17 season, I started strongly, scoring the winning goal in the Community Shield and scoring on my Premier League debut against AFC Bournemouth. I continued to add goals, including a brace against Southampton and another pair against Swansea City, where I even scored the 25,000th goal in Premier League history. My contribution continued with important goals, like my first hat-trick against Saint-Etienne in the Europa League. In addition, I was the author of the winning goal in the FA Cup and scored 2 goals in the EFL Cup final, securing my 2nd trophy with the club. However, my season was interrupted by a serious right knee ligament injury in the quarter-finals of the Europa League against Anderlecht. Despite that, Manchester United won the Europa League, and I was honoured to be named in the UEFA Europa League season's team. At the end of the season, it was announced that I would be released at the end of my contract, but it was then confirmed that we were in negotiations for my return to the club for the 2017-18 season. On August 24, 2017, I signed a new 1-year contract with Manchester United, wearing the number 10 in my 2nd season with the team. After returning to the field on November 18th and scoring my first goal of the season in December in the EFL Cup, in March 2018, Manchester United announced that we had agreed to terminate my contract, marking the end of my last season at the club. On March 23, 2018, I signed with the LA Galaxy of the MLS, announcing my arrival with an ad in the Los Angeles Times that said, "Dear Los Angeles, you're welcome." My debut with LA Galaxy on March 31st was memorable, scoring 2 goals against Los Angeles FC, including a spectacular shot from 45 yards out and a header in stoppage time to win 4-3. Throughout the season, I continued to make my mark with important goals, such as a hat-trick against Orlando City and my 500th career goal against Toronto FC. Despite the Galaxy not qualifying for the playoffs, I was selected for the MLS All-Star Game and the MLS Best XC, in addition to winning the MLS Newcomer of the Year award and the MLS Goal of the Year for my long-range goal against Los Angeles FC. Before the 2019 season, I was named captain of LA Galaxy and stood out with impressive performances, including a perfect hat-trick against Los Angeles FC. Despite my efforts, the team was eliminated in the Western Conference semi-finals in the MLS Cup playoffs. I announced my departure from the club via Twitter, leaving a message for the fans. After returning to AC Milan in December 2019, I continued to make my mark with standout performances, including a goal in the Derby della Madonnina against Inter. Upon reaching my 100th appearance for the club, I scored my 50th Serie A goal for both Milan teams and became the oldest player to score at least 10 goals in a Serie A season. since the 1950s. My legacy continues to grow at San Siro, with my contract extended until the summer of 2021. The 2020-21 season was a spectacle in which my presence at Milan shone on the football fields of Italy. From my first goal in the Europa League to my stunning braces in Serie A, I reaffirmed my status as Zlatan Ibrahimović, the King of Milan. My contract extension made it clear that my reign is not yet over. I decided to retire, but I did it my way, with style and an indelible legacy. My last season in Serie A was a symphony of records and unforgettable moments. I even surpassed myself, becoming the oldest goalscorer in Serie A feat that only Zlatan could achieve. But everything has its end, and my last game marked the closing of a glorious chapter. Announcing my retirement from football was a decision that only the great Zlatan could make, because even though I retire from the field, my legend will live on forever. Missing me already? Of course. How could you not? My retirement still reverberates in the hearts of the fans, but worry not. My absence on the field does not mean the end of my influence. Technical director? Absolutely. Under my leadership, football stars will find discipline and commitment. Indiscipline will be a thing of the past. Get ready for a new era under my command.